Hey y'all, it's Erica with Blooms to Bounty, and I am back in my backyard this morning where I'm going to clean out these DIY lettuce towers that I built and start planting for fall. So I already amended this bed. While there's some things growing in it, you'll see I have some marigold here that couldn't quite do its thing during my spring season. I also had some marigolds that grew pretty tall in another elevated raised bed that I had in the spring, and I think I just chose the wrong variety. I probably should have done like a dwarf marigold here. They got super leggy. They did bloom in the other environment, and here I just think the depth of these containers isn't ideal for the marigolds. So I am going to pull those out today. I will compost them so they're not totally going to waste. But like I said, I've already amended these beds. So once I get things pulled out that I'm not going to grow this fall, then I'll plant some new seeds. Now there are some lettuce in here that I want to keep. I mean, this one's starting to bolt, so I'll probably remove this one. But you see I've got some dill down here too, and just a couple of other things going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out what I don't need, and then I will show you all what is going to stay for the fall 2025 season and walk you through some of the seeds that I'm going to plant. So while I'm working on pulling the things out that I don't want to keep, I'm going to just toss them in this bin and then walk them over to the compost. I know that y'all can't see my face, but you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to bring you closer in just a second. I've got something growing in here, so I'm going to leave that there. Okay, this is a little bit better. So I'm just pulling out the marigolds and some of the weeds that started to grow in here. Like I said, this is just an interesting setup that I got here. Some of the spring plants took off, some of them didn't. I think I was just growing some of the wrong things here. I need to grow a dwarf marigold here instead of this taller variety that you saw. I have some sage in here that didn't quite take off. I can see it growing now, so I think it's just a matter of temperature. I live in zone 8B in Austin, Texas, and it's just really hot. It's still pretty hot. Like today is a surprisingly cool day. It's 78 today, but it will get back up to 88 later, and then we're gonna be in the 90s for the rest of the week. This is a normal September for us. So technically you can say I'm starting a little too early, but hey, if it doesn't work out, then I'll just come back out here and reseed. But looking at all the mushrooms I got here, I can tell that the soil is fertile, so that's a good sign. Some of these towers are broken. Let me show you. I love the Dollar Tree, don't get me wrong. I've done a lot with a little bit, and that's why some of you are here. But these containers can be pretty delicate. So when one side breaks, it impacts the stability of the entire tower. So I'm going to remove this broken container and reconfigure the pots. Lots of spiders here. It makes sense, right? This is a dry little death trap right here for any bugs. So that's got to go. Here's the part that broke. Let me bring you in so you can see. So as you can see, this is a close-up of the area that I was working in. That's the other lettuce tower. I've got a rectangular one here. So as you can see, there's the broken container that had the bed toppling over. And these are the bottom rungs. You can see they're a lot drier than the other ones. So I need to be mindful of keeping them watered and also rotating. All of these seeds will get equal sunlight. So I really just built this tower using rebar and these pots from the Dollar Tree. I drilled a hole in the center so that they could slide down the rebar, and then I drilled additional drainage holes on the pots themselves. And they held up for 2 seasons at least, and we'll see how we do with the fall. All right, I'm gonna get back to cleaning and planting, and when I'm ready to put the seeds in, I'll be back. All right, I'm halfway done with the situation here. As you can see, I'm still putting the pots back on the rebar to recreate the tower, but I wanted to show y'all what I was doing. I'm taking down each pot and amending the soil with my hands, clawing it, and adding earthworm casting and some Dr. Earth Pure Gold all-purpose fertilizer. I love these. They haven't let me down. I've been using them for years. But I am out of these two, so I'm gonna grab some Fox Farm soil conditioner to amend the remaining pots. Then I'll reconfigure the tower. All right. So I thought I was gonna do this process without y'all, but I'm spending so much time on it, I thought you might as well see. What I'm doing is going through and identifying what I wanna keep. I love herbs, so I have some dill and basil trying to grow in here, so I'm gonna see if they can hold on. This lettuce looks decent, so I'm gonna keep that as well. And what I'm doing is just mixing up the soil, making sure that it's still well draining, adding a bit of new soil with some soil conditioner. And I'm just mixing it up, really trying not to disturb the roots of the existing plants too much. And I've done that with some sort of amendment in pretty much every pot that's back on the rebar. I've got some sage that I planted earlier in the year, and it's finally just coming up. That's because the temperature has dropped here and the conditions are more favorable. So we love to see that. I don't know what that is, but it's weird looking. So a lot of people ask me, how do you know what to do? How do you know what to plant? I grew up on a small farm, and so I did a lot of watching. And also, I like to try things. Let's try and see gardener. I'm not a super plant gardener. I do some like high level planning. I trust God and I trust the process. He designed this process. So I am out here gardening on the vibes most of the time. And it's been working for me so far. This one had a good amount of onions. I'm sorry, onions? What? Where did they come from? Mushrooms growing in it. So to me, that's a good sign that the soil is pretty good. It's pretty, I did just kind of water these, so it's a little bit caked up. I'm using my hands to work the soil conditioner into the pot. Mix that in. Not too much pressure, because that's how I broke this pot the last time. Soil on top, or soil on top. Ew, snails are so gross. There's a snail in here. Okay, there's that one. Got a couple more. Yeah, with these towers, I wouldn't build too tall because it's just too much weight for the rebar and they start to fall over. Also, the pieces of rebar that I got from Lowe's here, they're also not very tall. So I didn't want to have anything too high up that would easily tip over. So I've got two more. I think I'm going to add one here and then double back to the other tower and add another one. Hopefully this isn't the straw that breaks the camel's back. Shouldn't be. Mixing in my soil conditioner. I'm using Fox Farm Ocean Forest. Top it off. Over here. I'm adding conditioner to the last pot. Okay, we're done with the towers. I just had to fix that one because it's also broken and looked like it was about to fall. So we didn't want those kind of problems. All right, so now I have cleaned these up and we're ready to add some seeds. All right, y'all, so I'm back with my seeds. I've got some chives, some ruby Swiss chard, bright light Swiss chard, and I've got some lettuce. I am gonna come back and add some herbs as well, but since we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and plant what I have. Now, I'm the type of gardener that likes to use what I have. So I have seeds from a couple seasons ago. I got new seeds. I have them, so I might as well use them, right? If they are no longer any good, I'll know pretty quickly. But if they are, then we use what we got and we haven't wasted anything. So I'm always grateful for that. On top here, I'm going to try this lettuce. It's giant Caesar lettuce. I'm just gonna sprinkle some here, cover it up. In another section here, I'm gonna try some chives. There's barely any seeds in here. I'm just gonna dump what I have. It's not even that. It looks like a lot, but it really wasn't. And then I'm gonna plant some Swiss chard here. Like I said, I'm the type of gardener to just move on vibes, so we'll see how this does. If these plants don't do well together, I can always relocate them. If they do, great, we've learned something. Put some more chard here. And here. I'm gonna try some of this Caesar lettuce in the front here. I also like to use this middle spot to plant some pest controlling companions as well. I have to see if I have some more chive seeds in the house, but I do have potted peppermints that I have all around that I like to move around and do a little pest control too. Now remember, I have some existing plants in here, like I've got some sage here, so this spot's already accounted for. I'm gonna try some more lettuce here. As well as some chard down here next to the dill. So pretty much everything on the back side is open. I'm gonna put some ruby red chard up here as well. So done with chard, done with chives. Still have some bright lights, Swiss chard. Now let's top that too. But I've got some Caesar, giant Caesar lettuce. Like I said, I moved that topsoil out of the way, sprinkle some seeds here, cover it back up. Money, okay? Super easy. And then we'll come back out in a few days and check our progress. Let me put some back here too. Now this is when gardening on vines goes wrong. because I'm just in here forgetting what I'm putting where. But I know lettuce, Swiss chard. And it's a beautiful surprise as it grows and you remember what you put there. So I'm gonna chill on the lettuce right now. I'm gonna go to my seed box and grab some more and keep planting. Okay, y'all, I am back. And I got reinforcements. I have some dwarf parsley, kale, some dwarf kale, and garlic chives. So now I'm gonna double back to this first tower and hit the back side. Remember I said I wanted to put some chives up here at the top? So we're just gonna do a ring of chives here. Some people just pour in the seeds from the container. Sometimes I like to pour them in my hand so I can feel the quantity and know how much I'm releasing. Here I barely have any chive seeds, so I'm just gonna pour it in here. Yeah, this pack is pretty done. I got a few more in this one. I like to pour them in my hand so I can feel how many are being released as I go around. So that's good. Lettuce here. Let me put some chives back here. And remember, my plan is to rotate these containers so that even the ones in the back get some sunlight. A few more chives. I'm gonna now start with the parsley and the kale. Come around here, put some on the back side. Got lettuce there. And that's it for seeding the lettuce towers. All right, y'all, I've cleaned up my little area and I wanna show y'all the end result. All right, these are my newly seeded lettuce towers. I'm gonna rinse them off because they can get a little messy when you're dealing with wet soil. But the ones with the 3 pots on them, those lettuce towers have been seeded for the fall. Super exciting. This one is collapsing. These are some, I started with some rectangular towers. Also, you can see that split. I'll take care of these tomorrow. I got another small one over there that needs some love too. But this is what we got. I will come back out in a few days and show you what the growth looks like. Thanks for hanging with me on today's garden project. If you'd like some more updates, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Blooms2Bounty and on TikTok as well. You'll find a lot of content on my stories as I'm coming out here giving quick daily updates to people that follow me there. Thank you, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.